you. Director, is it safe to say that the report, or that the analysis, the takeaway from Fast and Furious, that it was fatally flawed, disastrous? How would you characterize what happened at Fast and Furious in just a word or two?
Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here. It was a lack of oversight, and it was a leadership failure.
Tell me then, as you look at what happened on this Operation Fearless, how would you characterize it?
It was on a smaller scale because there's no comparison between Fast and Furious and what happened in Fearless. And I'm not excusing the things that are in our internal affairs report, and we have taken remedial action to fix those things like we have every time we've identified.
But it was flawed as well, too, correct?
It was flawed. There were mistakes that were made. It did result in prosecutions. It did result in guns coming off the street.
But it's certainly not the poster child of what we should be doing. It's certainly not the fix that we were hoping it was supposed to be.
Nope. That operation had its flaws.
Would the gentleman yield? Didn't it also result in a machine gun going on the street that's never been found? Yes or no would be good, like Mr. Connolly.
Context is important too, Mr. Chair. And I think it's important to note that the agent's vehicle was broken into between noon and 3 o'clock, and the safe was broken into. So it was unfortunate, and there were weapons lost, and there were some recovered, and there are some weapons that are still out there.
So, thank you.
Do you recall when Bernard, otherwise known as B.J. Zaper, was appointed as the special agent in charge of the Phoenix office?
I believe Mr. Zaper last year, moved to the Phoenix office. He was the Deputy Assistant Director of the Central, but he moved to be Special Agent in charge of the Phoenix Field Division.
And what I find curious about that, Director, is here we have the Phoenix office, probably the highest profile, on the heels of Fast and Furious, and yet this same person was in charge of an office that was executing on Operation Fearless. So here you have an internal report dated March 21st, 16 fundamental deficiencies. And you take the person who's in charge of one of those offices and you put him in charge of Phoenix.
Well, Congressman, unlike Fast and Furious, there was very poor communications going on between the SAC in St. Paul and what was happening in Milwaukee. Whereas in Fast and Furious—
But you took Mr. Milanowski, who supervised the Milwaukee office, and you put him in Phoenix as well.
I sure did.
Why do you do that? If this thing is so flawed, you agreed that it was flawed.
Which operation?
And we're concerned, Operation Fearless. You took the people who were overseeing the Milwaukee operation, the SAC, and then the person who's in charge of the Milwaukee office, and they get to go to Phoenix, where you have the most— you got to clean that place up. I don't understand how we take two people responsible for that and put them in charge of Phoenix. I don't see the accountability. I don't see anybody getting fired. I mean, we're taking mentally handicapped people and putting tattoos on their necks. We got missing weapons. We have locations that are opening in proximities to schools in violation of the law. We have stolen agent weapons. We have an agent whose personal contact information is left in one of these offices. I mean, we're enticing people across state lines to engage in prostitution type things. I mean, the allegations on this just— I mean, I could go on for 10 minutes listing them out. Well, where is the accountability?
You've aggregated a lot of information without really the opportunity to talk about some of those things in specifics. I can tell you that the individuals that were in the St. Paul Field Division and the movements that were made for very good reasons based on their records of performance, and that's not to excuse the mistakes made in Fearless.
You don't have anybody more qualified than Mr. Zaper and Mr. Milanowski to oversee probably the most critical office on the heels of Fast and Furious after you have an internal report dated March 21st with 16 deficiencies listed out. You don't have anybody better than that to go down and run that office.
There is solid leadership in the Phoenix Field Division and a lot of oversight down there.
So you have full and total confidence in Mr. Zaper and Milanowski?
I do.
Thank you.